yourself in uplifting conversations, insightful stories, and practical wisdom. Without further ado, here's your host of the Confidence Tea podcast, Virginie Madiston. And a sprinkle of empowerment, all over a cup of tea. Please welcome your host, Virginie Madiston. Virginie is a passionate advocate for personal growth and wellness, blending the art of tea with the journey of confidence. With a background in psychology, theology, and coaching, she believes every sip of tea can lead to a transformed mind, edified soul, and activated confidence. So get ready to steep yourself in uplifting conversations, insightful stories, and practical wisdom. Without further ado, here's your host of the Confidence Tea podcast, Virginie Madiston.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Confidence Tea. I'm your host, Gigi, and I am so excited that you can join me today. We here at Confidence Tea, we brew more than just tea. We steep ourselves in powerful conversations, insightful strategies, and we help you to elevate your self-esteem and empower yourselves. And so we are so excited because each episode we get to dive into different topics that's going to spark and ignite passion for you to build your confidence. And so grab your favorite cup of tea. Today I have this flavor is Last Mango in Paris. So that's the type of tea I'm drinking. And if you see my cup, it says, I don't know if you can see it, all things are possible to those who believe. So grab your favorite cup of tea and let's get ready to dive into this amazing conversation. So I want to thank you guys for just joining me on this episode. And at Confidence Tea, we believe that tea is the ultimate cure. If you're cold, nothing like a cup of warm tea to warm you up. And if you're heated, nothing like a glass of cold iced tea to cool you down. If you're depressed, tea will cheer you, it will calm you, and it's going to soothe and restore you. We believe that tea and conversation are the remedy to a transformed mind, renewed spirit, and activated confidence. And so we want to invite you to try our tea at Confidence Tea. So you can, I'm going to put our link in the chat. That way you can visit our website and order your own cup of Confidence Tea. Tonight, we have a very special guest with us tonight, and we're going to be talking about her journey from corporate consulting and how she was able to find her confidence along the way. I want to introduce you guys to Jennifer Hocutt. She is a former senior operational executive. Jennifer successfully led regional healthcare teams, acquiring struggling medical practices and growing them into multi-million-dollar generating businesses within a year. Earning an MBA in organizational leadership allowed Jennifer to gain expert knowledge through frontline exposure. Incorporating her most rewarding work, creating success strategies and formal development training programs, Jennifer launched Hocutt Group LLC in 2018. Jennifer has successfully supported businesses, both small and large, in achieving significant growth through business advertisement, targeted strategies, and team alignment and expansion. Taking pride in being a small town Midwestern girl raised on hard work and Ovaltine, her life's purpose is to help others step into the highest version of themselves while writing their own success story. So, guys, please welcome Jennifer Hokut to Confidence Tea. Hello, how are you?
Oh, oh, it's so good to see you, Gigi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to join me, and we get to have this amazing conversation tonight.
I am so excited. I have my tea. I am ready to go. I'm a tea fan, so this is right up my alley. Sweet tea, hot tea, I love it all.
Oh, I'm so glad. I am so glad that we get to have this conversation. We like connected and we were just in like the minute we started talking, we were just like going and going and going. And so I knew I was going to have just an amazing time with you tonight. Just being able to just talk and share your story and your journey. And it's a journey at most, going from corporate to owning your own consulting firm. I know that must have been a difficult transition for you. So, I mean, like, tell us, like, share, give us the tea.
Oh, I'm spilling all the tea today, right?
Mhm.
Yes, it is. It was such a journey and it's an ongoing journey, but it was the beginning of a very transformative journey of building my confidence and becoming who I was always meant to be. But I had to go through all of those tough times and all of those chapters to get to where I'm at. And so it's been an amazing journey and one that I'm always excited to share because if I can do it, you can do it too. So people who are looking forward to writing their next chapter, totally possible. Totally.
Absolutely. That's wonderful, Jennifer. And I'm so happy for you that you took this leap of faith. Now, I know there must have been something that urged you to take that jump, to take that leap and to step out and do this. Leave the corporate world and start this new chapter of your life. So tell us about that.
It was. And unfortunately, it took a health scare to really push me into doing something different. I had been in management since I was 21 years old. I was in college and I had a regional director just believe in me. Our manager quit in the middle of the night and I was working in a coffee shop and she promoted me. She saw in me leadership qualities and so at first I thought I was being punked when she told me that she was promoting me because I'm like, I'm a college student. I'm poor trying to make my way, and I have no leadership experience. But she believed in me, and I just immediately took to the role, and I loved leadership from there on out. And I've been in leadership positions ever since. And I've always had a service heart, so healthcare made a lot of sense for me. And I went into healthcare, got my bachelor's in health information management and just rose through the ranks in transitioning into leadership within the healthcare industry. But it can be tough. It's a corporate environment, even though it's healthcare.
Yes, yes.
And so, as a female leader, it's tough. And being a female leader in a very male dominated administrative capacity was even tougher.
I can
And so
imagine.
I really had to fight for my positioning, and it just always felt like an ongoing battle.
Mhm.
And honestly, Gigi, it started to erode my confidence in myself along the way because being a female leader with a lot of confidence can be misperceived sometimes.
Yes, as cocky or, you know, I don't want to say the word, but
Couple of ugly words for sure, right? We
yes.
know, we know. And so it was really hard to fight those things off. And I just felt like I had to become someone totally different to erode people's stereotype of female leaders that had confidence.
Mhm.
And
How
it
did you do that? Like how were you successful at overcoming the doubt and the feelings of insecurity during that process? Because it's definitely a process.
I had to keep reminding myself of who I really was. I really surrounded myself with people who had known me all along, people from my childhood friends, my spouse, my children, my family, because I needed them to mirror back who I really was and who they knew me to be. So I had to draw that wall between my who I was in my corporate world, my professional space, and who I was personally. So I did not lose track of who Jennifer really was.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, whew, yeah, I can only imagine just going through that whole process and that whole transition. Now, I know that there were some things that you had to do on an ongoing basis in order to build good habits, to practice boosting your confidence, because you're in this process, transitioning, and yet you're still you're the face, you're the brand, it's you against the world.
Yes, it feels that way sometimes.
So what were some of the things that you did in order to maintain your confidence during that transition?
Well, I held true to my values. I grew up in a very faith-filled family. And so I leaned on just who I really was. That's why I always include in my bio that I'm a Midwestern girl grown up on Ovaltine. I love me some chocolate milk. Not so much now.
And
As
ice
older,
cream.
milk doesn't
And
settle
ice
so
cream,
much.
right? Ice cream.
For sure. So I just, I remained true to who I was. Here's something that I did that I never lost track of is I dressed the way that suited me, my style. And I was just talking about this with a friend of mine today. Regardless of the environment that I was in, whether I was working in underserved populations or working in the executive suites, whatever it looked like, I still dressed how I felt confident, what made me feel good, because it reminded me of who I really am. My style and my outward appearance was reflecting my inward uh, values and thoughts and who I really was. So when I, regardless of where I was, I felt good in heels and a dress and being in a very professional type of outfit. So whether I was in the practices, rooming patients, I was doing it in heels and a dress.
Oh,
It
wow.
really didn't matter.
I mean, but at least you were feeling comfortable. And sometimes that can be challenging, going into different environments, feeling like, okay, I have to dress a certain way. And now not being used to that attire causes you to feel uncomfortable.
Oh, and I would be judged sometimes. So I would either get, oh, here comes the brunette Barbie who is like all put together and looking really professional. And then sometimes it would work against me because people would be very intimidated.
Okay.
I just looked like, senior leadership, and oh no, here comes senior leadership. They're going to tell us something we don't want to hear, or,
Mhm.
give us a talk. So I really had to work hard to be friendly and outgoing and to gain trust and just be authentic. I cared about every single one of my team members. I had very large regions, upwards of 250 people at a time
Oh,
reporting out
wow.
to me. And I needed to connect with each and every one of them to let them know that I cared and that I was nobody to be feared. I was here to serve them and to work hard for them just as much as they were there to work hard for me.
Wow, that's awesome. And service is not something you often hear, especially when you come from that corporate world and coming from a corporate background. How were you able to transition that mindset into service? I want to serve others. How were you able to do that and really get people to one to trust you and to support you?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to always get people's buy-in, especially when you are seen as a supervisor or a leader or a boss. I
Mhm.
really hated being known as the boss lady. Um, it's not really who I was. I always felt like I was arm in arm in lockstep with my team and that we were in it together. And I was working for them and they were working for me. We were in it together. But the way that I really gained their trust is just by getting to know them and spending time with them. I would get to know them, their personal lives, their families, their kids, and I would always try to remember who everybody was and how they were connected. If they got a new puppy, the next time I come into the practice, I try to remember to ask about the puppy. A lot of times I would go and take notes. I'd be in
Okay.
conversation, and then I would excuse myself to the manager's office, and I would go and write down some notes about the front desk person or the clinical staff or the doctors. So it was just really getting to know people,
Mhm.
and just letting them get to know me as well. I'm just a human being. I, put my shoes on just as they do. And keeping it service oriented was not hard to do in the healthcare space because we were serving people all day long, and we were honored and privileged to have them trust us with their healthcare. And so it was easy for me to continue to have that service heart because our mission was driven by serving patients well.
Okay. And like that is so important. I think when people realize that, something as simple as remembering about the puppy can mean so much to someone, and it can really form a relationship like no other. Some of the best relationships that I've been able to cultivate along my journeys has been because I remembered someone's name. I remembered something they told me, and I was able to, the next time I saw them, say, "Hey, how's the puppy?" or "How's your mom?" or or "What did you do? What did you end up doing for your birthday?" or whatever that thing was. And that person automatically felt a connection, and we were able to, pursue a relationship, and we were able to build upon that relationship. So sometimes as we're taking that journey, it's important for us to learn, just some of the techniques of cultivating relationships. And I think that's a big thing. That is definitely a big component of it.
Absolutely. My grandfather taught me that a long time ago. He had a business, he was a business owner, and he had a lot of people reporting to him. And he made everyone feel so special. When he spoke to you, you felt like you were the only person in the room, even though there were hundreds of people. He used to speak at big gatherings. And so I took cues from him early on because everybody in his life, Gigi, thought that they were his favorite. When he passed away at his funeral, we were all talking about how I thought I was the favorite grandchild. My 4 cousins thought that they were the favorite. My mom thought she was the favorite child. My aunts and uncles. I mean, he just made you feel like you were the most important person in his space at that time. And we all felt like we were his absolute favorite.
Yeah, I try to do that to people. I try to make people feel very special.
Yeah.
And I have this like running joke when I say to people, like, I'll say, "Oh my gosh, Jennifer, you're my favorite." And
Yeah.
like somebody else will be like, "Well, Gigi, I thought I was your favorite." And I say, "Well, she's my favorite Jennifer."
That's great. I do the same thing, but I'll say, "Don't tell anybody else." You're my favorite, but don't tell anybody else.
Well, it's important. I think we as human, we all want to feel special. We all want to feel like we matter. We want to feel like we are important. And so something as simple as someone taking the time to remember your name is very important, like pronunciation. I always try to make sure, like, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I get my name mispronounced, all you would not believe. Well, not Gigi. My name is Virginie, but
Yeah.
people call me Virginia
Uh,
from, I mean, if I had a nickel for every time somebody called me Virginia, let's just say I'd be rich. One time I had a lady say to me, "They spelled your name wrong, but I went ahead and took that E out and I added the A because they spelled it wrong." And I'm like, "But it is an E."
oh
So
my goodness.
so things like that. So because I know of what I've, endured in the whole name, my name being mispronounced, I try to make a point to ask people, "Hey, how do you pronounce your name?" There's nothing wrong with someone saying, "Oh, it's pronounced this way." And then I practice it and I get it. But just that little, something so small, but it can make a big difference in when you're cultivating a relationship with someone.
Absolutely. I totally agree. People wanna matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I want to matter. Do
Yes,
you want to matter?
yes,
Oh my.
absolutely.
Well, wow. So, what do you think some of the things that you could, some advice that you could give to people that may be on a similar journey? Maybe not necessarily going into consultant, but they're leaving the corporate world behind, and they want to, go into a different path.
Well, first of all, I was very naive, and that was a gift because what you don't know can sometimes be really beneficial. You will hear so many people tell you that it's really scary and why would you leave a job that is really secure? But I think nowadays we know there is no such thing as job security. I think we're
False
seeing
sense.
that more and more across the board with these larger corporations, letting people go without very much notice and advanced warning. So, but you should always be a sure bet. You should always be betting on yourself. And if you're not a sure bet, that's what you need to work on and identify. Because regardless of what anybody else tells you, and a lot of times people will say things that feel really negative, but it's only because they're afraid for us.
Yeah.
They want to protect us and they love us and something that looks like it's so clear cut and easy, why would you choose a hard path? But I can tell you firsthand that I have become who I was meant to always be, and that would have never happened if I would have never believed in myself and took a chance on my business. My business brought sides out of me that I didn't even know existed, and it put people in my path that I would have never met any other way, such as you.
Wow, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. What about in your field? You have so many different, you play so many different roles. And, as a woman, and I think as women, we're used to wearing multiple hats, but how do you manage just juggling the different things that you have to do in your role? Um, like managing the transition process, managing the business, managing people. How do you do it?
Geez, that's a loaded question. Sometimes I don't know. So sometimes I think I don't know how I'm doing all of this. Honestly, it's my community. I have always been so blessed to have such a wonderful community and such a stellar support system. I have a fantastic small but mighty team, and I have wonderful other consultants who work for me on an advisory basis that really help me that I can call anytime. So when I'm overwhelmed, they keep me centered and grounded, but they're always offering to step up for me in ways that I don't even think of. Um, in any way, just for personal support. If I show up to a team meeting, we always start, my team meetings off with my executive assistant. We always talk about how we're doing, and we know what's going on in each other's lives. She's not afraid to Slack message me something that's going on with her that she needs to focus on that day personally. And I'm happy to pick up wherever she's at on her schedule. And she does the same for me. So I think having a solid, supportive community around you is really important because as women, we have to understand there may be this mindset that we can just do it all,
Mm,
and we can, but we don't have to.
yeah.
So surround yourself with a really strong support system and community of people that you trust and can be trusted. And that doesn't mean it has to be thousands of people, right? It can be a very small circle of 2 to 3 people to lean on.
Absolutely. I completely agree because your support system is everything.
Everything.
It's everything. And even when it comes to building your confidence, those people who are around you are the ones that you can lean on when you're having a not so confident moment. And
Yes.
so, because we all have them, I always tell
Several times a day.
a journey, it's definitely a journey. It's not a destination. You never fully arrive. Even as a businesswoman, even where you are, I'm sure that you've had some points where you feel like, hey, I'm not, so talk to us about that. Like, how do you deal with whether it be thoughts of failure or rejection? How do you deal with that and not let it impact your confidence?
Such a good question. Really, with rejection, I never see it as rejection. I always see it as redirection. And I have really owned that and really mastered that muscle completely. Every time I hear a
Good
no,
for you.
it's just it for me, it is just a no that you are not the right person in that space. For me, I'm not right for you. And so it could be a no right now. I've had people that I was prospecting that were considering working with my company, and they just decided to not make forward motion, but they came back around later. So it's a no isn't a no forever, one. It could just be just not right now, not at this moment. And it really has nothing to do with you. It's not personal to me. And that's hard to say because it's my company. And when people say no to my company, I feel like you're saying no to my baby, right? Like you're calling my baby ugly or something. Like it seems so wrong. It's like, what
So
did we
personal.
do? But it's not. It's more about them. I always remind myself, especially when you have your own business, when people tell you no, a lot of times it's more to do with them than you. They may not trust their decision making skills. They may not trust that they're doing the right thing. And that has nothing to do with you. So, really, it's just a redirection. Every no gets you closer to the yes, where you're
Yeah,
supposed to be.
I completely agree. On my journey, I have a background in sales, and I remember one of the
Oh,
exercises that we used to always do. My mentor would say, "Get 100 no's."
yes.
And if you can get 100 no's, then you don't have to do whatever the task is. And when I would try that, I had a little sheet of paper that would say journey to 100, so that way I would write. So I would always get to about maybe 7 or 8 no's, and by the time I got there, I had already gotten so many yeses that my confidence was built. Like I was like, I got this. Like this is what we're doing. Like I get it now. And so the 7 or 8 no's that I got had no impact on the number of people that were willing to say yes. And so I challenge people to get to 100 no's. Like if you want to do something, whatever that thing is, if you want to, start a new venture, you want to, and you're not sure, try to see if you can get 100 no's first. If you get to 100 no's, then you know what, that was not for you. But if along that process of trying to get to 100 no's, you hit your goal, then hey, this is what I'm meant to do. And so, that's my little tidbit about 100 no's.
I absolutely love that. I love it.
Yeah.
And listen, I always say the no's are very important because if you got a yes for every single time you put yourself out there, listen, I'm not the only consultant. I can't serve the whole world. So
Yeah.
I need people to say no to me.
Exactly.
I want them to be the right client. I want them to be the right fit. I want them to be the right fit for my team. My team is very honest with me. When we have a difficult client or a client that just does not embody our mission and our values, they tell me. When they will come to the team meeting and say, Jen, this client is not who we are. This is not who we serve. And so I've had to let clients go along the way. And listen, we've learned a lot. It gets us closer to who we hone in on, who we want to serve and who we want to work with. But the no's are really so important. They're so important.
Awesome. Yes, 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 yes. They are so important. Let us know in the chat how you feel about hearing no or being told no. I want to know how you feel about when you hear the word no. What does that do to you? And how does that impact your confidence? Does that have a higher impact on you because you're hearing no? And do you struggle to say no? I know a lot of people that struggle to say no. How do you feel about that, Jennifer? Do you have a hard time saying no to people?
I sometimes do because I'm such a bleeding heart. I just want to help everybody.
You seem
However,
like it.
no, I really am. I just want to help everybody. However, my daughter's name is Noelle, and we used to call her No Nos when she was little. She'll kill me for saying this. And so it kind of got easier to say no because I was saying no all the time. And no is endearing to me because she's
Mhm.
my endearing little no nos. So
Aw.
um, it's important to say no because you can't do all the things. And I always look at no as a redirection for the person too. It can be hard because I love to see people happy and I love to help make people happy. But when I know deep in my heart boundaries are important,
Hmm.
and so it's just necessary. And it's just one of those things. As a businesswoman, I don't have a hard time in so much in the business world of saying no because I can easily separate that. In my mind, I think it's just business, it's not personal. But in my personal life, it's really hard to say no.
I get it. It depends. Sometimes I struggle saying no, and then other times I'm like, no.
Yes, it really depends on what it is. If you're
Yeah,
asking
it
me to go
really.
out for like a drink at 9:30 at night, I'm like, no, I'm in
And
my pajamas.
but I think too, as I've gotten more comfortable in my skin and I've truly embraced my confidence, because I always tell people your confidence is it's hard work to build and it's hard work to keep. I always use the gym example because that's the best analogy that I can come up with. But you're not gonna spend time, work out, go to the gym, and do all of this stuff only to stop and eat a whole bunch of junk food. So in the same sense, you're not gonna work hard, build your confidence, affirm yourself daily, only to have somebody, well, you can't say no to somebody to protect your own personal self. And so it doesn't align, it doesn't make sense. And so I always tell people, like, do what's going to promote your self-confidence. Protect it at every cost. Because you work hard to get it. You worked hard to get where you are, just like you work hard to build your consulting firm. You wouldn't let somebody come in and just, so it's the same thing. We have to treat our self-confidence the same way and protect it as best as we can.
Absolutely. Amen to all of that.
So what's in the future for you? What's in the future for Whole Cut Group? What do you have going on? Definitely let us know and how we can support you.
Well, I'm excited because I have just been able, I recently was obtained the Women Owned Small Business certification.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was really exciting for me. But it's funny how one small step in one direction can just lead you to other amazing things. So when I obtained my certification, I felt very honored. It was great because I did it myself. I pursued it. My team was very excited because it opens us up to federal contracting and just consulting on a higher level. But because we now have this capability to consult at a higher level with bigger entities, we find ourselves able to serve smaller entities in a more meaningful and impactful way. So, just this last week, I was able to incorporate a compassionate pricing structure model for our consulting group.
Oh, wow.
And I am so proud of it, Gigi, because it is just going to lend our services to entities that need it the most, and it does not have to be financially driven. So anybody who is minority-owned business, small business, mission-driven, you're doing anything in the community to make this world a better place, and we are offering compassionate pricing services.
Oh,
So
wow.
because we have the larger entities
Mhm.
who are paying a larger price to work with our services because they can financially with it will withstand that threshold, we're able to offer our services at a compassionate rate
I
that
love that.
smaller entities can afford. And I am just so excited to be
I'm
able to,
excited for you. That
yeah.
is wonderful. That is amazing. Kudos to you. Congratulations on that. That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So and I've been doing it all along. I work with a lot of female-owned businesses, and so I've always given them different pricing structures. And so we're able to really look at their books and see what they're able to afford because of course it's an investment. When you have skin in the game, you show up differently. And
Yes.
so there's an investment, but we at J Hocut Group believe that finances should never be a barrier to high-level support. And now we can actually live that message in a whole entirely different way.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, definitely tell us, how can we connect with you? I know a lot of listeners, after hearing that, definitely want to connect with you in some way, shape, or form. I'm already connected, y'all. So,
Yes. Well, you can definitely find me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Hocutt. But anything J Hocutt Group, I'm the only one out there. Hocutt, remarkably, is not such a popular name. So you can go to my website, www.jhocuttgroup.com. You can learn all about me there, all about my team and the work that we're doing and how we can best serve you. And there's also a place to sign up to contact us. I am happy to jump on a 15, 20-minute phone call. You can book time right there through our website. And no sales. We are there to lend value. I'll jump on a call. You bring me a problem. We will solve it. And if we're the right fit, we'll continue on. And if not, you walk away with an actionable item to implement.
oh my goodness, that is awesome. Thank you so much for that, Jennifer. That is
Of
good
course.
information. I'm going to make sure I drop that link in the chat. That way, if you're listening and you want to get in touch with Jennifer, because she's a problem solver. So if you have some problems that need to be solved, she's your gal.
For sure. I think on my website, I have I'm the vanilla ice of problem solving. You've got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. I'm an 80s, 90s girl. But also, I just for all intents and purposes, when you go to my website, it's the best way to get to know me. I wrote my entire website myself.
Okay.
So I have a website designer because I'm not that techie. But all of the content on my website has been personally written by me. I want you to know who you are working with and what our company really stands for.
That's awesome. That is amazing. The more I talk to you, the more I just like you more and more.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, this has been so awesome. So awesome.
So fun.
I just have one final question for you. And basically, I know that, you know, along the confidence journey, there has to be someone. So, who can you say was like a role model for you? And how did they impact your journey?
Easily, hands down, my mother. She is my hero. She has been my biggest fan. And the reason I've been able to be so confident and have such a wonderful support system is because my mom always instilled in me that no matter what I wanted to do, I can totally accomplish it. She was one of these people who every wild harebrained idea that I brought to her, she is just like, yes, go for it, do it. I'm right beside you. And
I love
even when
that.
I felt so uncertain, my
Mhm.
mom has always been my biggest cheerleader. And she just is so unwavering. Her support and love is truly so unconditional. And she is the person who is just my ride or die. I love my
Aw.
mom tremendously. She did not always have it easy. She was very strong, very resilient, and she really set the bar high. And because I can go to my mom when I just feel so down and so alone and so lost, my mom is there to remind me who I am. And she will tell me, you are better than that. And I believe in you and you can do it.
Aw, that's amazing. That's awesome. I absolutely love that. I love that for you. Thank you so much. Jennifer,
Thanks.
thank you for joining us today on Confidence Tea. Do you have any final words?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to sit down and chat with you. You are just a lovely human being, and I am so honored to have spent time with you. Thank you so much for the amazing tea. I definitely am going to be a raving fan. And by the way, hopefully none of my Christmas people are watching, but that's what they're going to get for gifts this year. So thank you for just being such a light in the world and having this platform to encourage and empower other people.
Aw, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for just coming in and just for being yourself and, letting us have this amazing conversation and helping other people see that you can have confidence along the journey, along the way. You went from corporate to owning your own consulting firm who now gets to help more and more people. And so I am so happy for you. I'm so glad you were able to join us on this conversation.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you.
It's been an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Confidence Tea. I hope you have found some inspiration. I hope that you were able to find something that we said that you can connect to. Remember, Confidence is like a warm cup of tea. It takes time to steep, but it is worth every single moment. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Confidence Tea.